Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for July, or no, not July, not yet, June 28th, 2020, with your host, Please 244H and Ramp at Epsilon.
Hi.
It didn't help that, I guess, the July television scans are coming within the next a few days or so, I guess, since we have a tweet with one of them. With our, 13th different belt, I think.
I think you're right.
I think we have just as many belts as we do major progress keys in the series at this point.
Well, are we counting the raid risers and all that stuff too?
More or less.
Then yeah, we're probably about there.
Because I think the Zetsumo Riser and the Raid Riser are meant to be complements of each other, because all the belts are kind of in pairs.
True.
But yeah, no episode to talk about with 01 because it's not subbed yet.
I think we're at what, 8 belts at the moment?
Well, we have the 01 driver, the Shot Riser, the Force Riser, the Cyclone Riser, the Thouser driver, the Zetsumo Riser, the Raid Riser, Slash Riser, the Arc Zero driver, the new, I guess, Arc 1 driver, and technically the 02 driver, so we're at 11.
Huh. Huh.
It's a stupid amount of belts.
Yeah. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Especially seeing as how we don't have enough riders to utilize every belt.
Well, only the Zetsumo Riser doesn't have a rider. Well, technically, the Zetsumo Riser and Raid Risers don't count as rider belts because they're not given to specific riders. They're more just monster belts. So we technically only have 9 proper rider belts.
The Raid Riser, I think you kind of have to count in with the rider belts.
Yeah, because Yu uses it for her, what is probably her final form at this point, but yeah.
Probably, yeah.
The Zetsumo Riser does not have a proper rider attached to it at the moment. Unless you're me and gonna get the Barotha Maggie and Soto and be like, oh, here's good guy Barotha, just add him over here on the side. Because I can. But we do have the original series to talk about, 21 through 24.
I forgot to update the bottom. I knew there was something I forgot to do.
Oh no.
Oh no.
How'd you feel about these episodes?
Better, at least.
Yeah, it feels like the show's finally starting to get traction.
Again.
Yeah. It took long enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Took, what, 8 episodes before it finally started getting traction?
Yeah.
Which is a lot more than it should have.
Mm-hmm.
Especially seeing as how we didn't really do any kind of character development on the new supporting cast kind of deal. They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like, that could be written off if they tried to do some kind of supporting cast backstory concept.
I think we're in the time before even the main cast gets any type of backstory. Because Hongo didn't get a whole lot that wasn't just, I don't like that I got turned into a cyborg and I'm sad about it.
No, but we pretty much got to see him from his start. And I kind of feel like with Nego probably about the same.
Yeah.
Because I can't foresee a lot of time passed. Anyhow.
No, it's...
So, I mean, with both of them, it's kind of... You've seen their backstory simply by just watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
It would kind of, you know, be nice to know any kind of a reason as to why they wanted to join a motorcycle club when only one of them knows how to ride.
Well, they all want lessons. That's the short and long of their reasons, that they all want lessons.
Except none of them want to get on a bike.
Including the one that normally drives a bike.
It's like that's a problem.
God damn it. Although I do have to ask, why is this one waiter person here when he is just a bartender? Why are you at a motorcycle club? Also, where did he go? He's gone. He's disappeared.
He just went poof.
Ah, God damn. Anywho.
It's like we didn't have anything for him to do, so just go poof.
Yeah. Anything else before we hop into the episodes proper?
No.
Alright, we'll go half and half again this week. But first up is episode 21, Dokugander, Confrontation at Osaka Castle. So, we're at a local university in a different town because we're going into different towns a lot, and I didn't keep track of what the towns specifically were. More or less, we're going outside of where we normally are.
Pretty much every time.
Yes, which is why everyone needs to drive indoor fly everywhere in this series, everywhere in these 4 episodes.
And it kind of feels odd.
Yeah. One of them I feel like is, wait, are you just advertising for the city? Are you just advertising the city? Because that's what this one feels like. Yeah. Anyway, we're at a local university in this other town, where the hiker from last week, I assume... I don't
Yeah.
I
believe,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, he's talking to the press about the human-sized caterpillar he saw in the mountains from the last episode. He's going to provide pictures to the press of it, but he can't find the pictures when he goes into his office because his colleague has taken them and is covering up the incident by saying, "Oh, no, it was a publicity stunt. Don't worry about it. It didn't actually happen."
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, most of the club that are for once at the club read this in the newspaper, which is awfully quick. An awfully quick turnaround on that. About this whole publicity stunt, but they're like, no, that caterpillar did attack us. It almost electrocuted most of us. That actually happened. Oh, this seems weird. Maybe we should investigate this. So Hayato goes off to investigate because I guess his chakra senses are tingling, although I don't want to say that because it seems obvious this time.
Yeah. Very obvious. One of those, his chakra senses would have to be nearly numb to not tingle off of this one.
Mm-hmm. But back over to the lab, we see that the hiker has developed a growth serum for cocoons that make them bigger and grow faster.
Which I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
I'm pretty sure that's not how that works, but, well, guess what the target of Shocker is for this week? They want that growth serum. So, while Hayato is riding there, he's proceedingly attacked by the now butterfly moth monster. I keep calling it a moth monster later because it looks more moth than butterfly.
I think it said it in the subs or something that I've spotted. I can't remember if it was in the subs or if it was in what they had listed as the title.
Whether it was a butterfly or a moth.
I think it was. I think it was listed as like a moth kind of deal.
Okay. I was about to say, it looked more moth than butterfly, so I don't know. Anyway, Hayato has to fight them off until Taki arrives in his Jeep, because he owns a Jeep that is immediately blown up, and then the moth runs away. And Taki is here because the FBI told him to go here because ambiguous orders from headquarters.
Because that's pretty much his whole reason for plot convenience.
That's the only reason he goes anywhere now. It's just ambiguous orders from headquarters tells you to go here so you could be involved in this plot. Instead of, I don't know, working with Hayato normally. It's a thing I bring up. I have listed in the notes later of like how disconnected this club feels like when they're doing stuff.
Yeah, and you know, the weird thing with Taki that I've kind of wondered if it might happen, but does it not almost feel like the orders that he's getting from the FBI kind of align with how Shocker goons are giving orders? Just this disembodied voice is telling them what to do?
Yes, but I don't know if there's any twist about, like, Shocker has infiltrated the FBI and they're fucking with Taki for, like, months.
I feel like not. But I also feel like if this was redone, like, in this kind of time frame, that would probably be a twist.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, I'm like, if it happens, I'm not going to be super surprised, unfortunately, because I kind of see it a mile away. But it would be kind of neat for the time if that's something that happens.
Yeah. Anyway, Hayato and Taki head to the lab, only to find the guy has already been kidnapped, and a messenger knife has been left to inform them of the kidnapping.
Because, you know, Shocker is that technologically advanced to have phono knives.
Why?
It sounded like a good idea at the time.
They're excited to get it. Why?
It sounded like a good idea at the time.
Also, is it just a phone message, or is the great leader Shocker calling in to be like, "Aha, we beat you here, na 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 na"?
I feel like it's just like a phone message kind of deal.
God.
Which makes it even worse.
Oh, goddamn. Anyway, we see the guy brought in the Shocker because, by the way, his colleague that's covering this is in fact Mothman, which makes me go, wait a minute, you were driving him to this place. When the fuck did you have time to attack Hayato earlier? Wait a minute.
I didn't even think about that. Why do I have a funny feeling that some of the sequences got put out of order in production?
Potentially.
Because that's almost what that feels like.
Yep.
Like, oops.
Anyway, Shocker wants him to grow more cyborgs from these cocoons we have, which... I'm confused. How is it a cyborg if it's literally growing out of a cocoon? We're not making cyborgs here, right? We're just making monsters. That's not a cyborg at this point. Because there's nothing metal in there.
I mean, part of me wants to be like, you know, you're right. The other part of me wants to be like, as we see in a later episode, apparently Shocker has the technology to make a metal mushroom that looks real.
True.
So, I don't know. Show logic.
Yeah, Shocker just make whatever the fuck they need to for the plot. It's just the short and long of it.
No matter how obscure it sounds, they can do it.
Yep. Anyway, the guy is being threatened to do this, and he doesn't want to do it until they bring his daughter in saying, hey, we'll go after her if you don't do it, so do it. Which takes us over to the daughter, where two of the girls are borrowing some van, I guess, that Tachibana could give them to go stake out the place where this daughter lives.
Yeah.
And
I didn't quite follow this until after the thing happened, and then it's like, wow, we could have let into that one a little easier.
Yeah. Which leads us to scene where a woman steps out and tries to pick up the daughter, and that doesn't work, and then we find out that the daughter is actually Goro in disguise. But then the girls try to go after this woman, and it turns out it's actually a shocker, regular male shocker goon in disguise, which makes me go, wait a minute, we've had female shocker goons. Why is this not a female shocker goon? I'm okay.
Yeah. There's so much weird with that.
Yeah. Anyway, they bring the guy in for questioning, but he's very tight-lipped. And Mothman soon arrives to more or less kill the goon and fight with Taki and Hayato up on the roof before Mothman gets away again. And then at this point, I guess, did Goro and the girl just leave the apartment while no one's looking?
Maybe?
Because I think Taki said something about Goro and the girl are gone. And apparently they went to look for her father. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, they're out for this place looking for it. The girls are looking for them. And they just run into Tachibana, who's running this photography stand in the skies on Stakeout 2.
Because of course he is.
Tachibana, why are you here? And what part of the plan is this?
It is plan be around just in case.
I get it. Unfortunately, all of them are captured by Shocker because that's the plot this week. So they all get captured. But Hayato manages to show up in time to save them, and thankfully, one of the Shocker goons throws a knife at him so Hayato can catch it and cut everybody free. How nice of him to do that. So at this point, more confusion as Mothman runs away again while Hayato's dealing with the Shocker goons. But Taki infiltrates the base, which is apparently 5 feet away, as a Shocker goon, but is immediately reveals himself to warn the scientists to not go ahead with the cocoon stuff. So the guy does, and he actually destroys the cocoons with a chemical. So that guy's taken away, but Hayato arrives to save Taki and the scientists and fight Mothman once more, which is the 4th time he's fought him this episode in very short fight scenes. We are all over the place in this episode, and I am incredibly confused of what the plan was.
The plan seems to be flail around aimlessly and hope for the best.
Yeah.
That seems to be the recurring plan.
Yeah. Anyway, Hayato saves them both, fights Mothman once more, Rider kick, and we're done. Monster goes boom. Everyone catches a flight back home, except Taki and Hayato want to drive back on their motorcycles. Because they don't trust airplanes? Which, okay, Hayato, didn't you have to fly in on an airplane to get here to start with? Since you are an FBI agent, probably from America? Because You know, that's the only place where the FBI exists.
I mean, technically, they both would have had to.
True.
It's one
So,
of those.
whatever.
It's one of those prime examples of I almost feel like there should be backstory to go along with that, except it's a one-off line that we'll probably never touch again.
Yep. Also, by the way, at this point, all of the club, including the girls and Goro, are let in on the whole thing about Shocker. So I guess after almost being murdered last week, they all got told, hey, this is what the fuck's going on, by the way. Since you all almost got murdered. I like that happened between episodes and we didn't get their reactions to, wait a minute, you're a cyborg and those monsters are after you? Why did we join this club?
That's assuming they actually were told that part of it.
True. Anyway, that brings us to episode 22, Suspicious Merman Amazonia. So we start the episode with Olympic swimmer being taken by Shocker, and he gets turned into said merman. Hayato's swiftly on the trail, while Taki is teamed up with another agent from the FBI who are looking for the Shocker base.
And did we ever get her name?
No.
I'm glad to know I wasn't the only one that was like, and we never do.
I'm like, fuck, I don't think we ever got her name.
No,
Shit.
I don't think we ever did.
Of course we didn't. Yeah. Great, that goes along with the Shocker scientists. All three of them, but I don't think we've also never gotten names for. They're just Shocker scientists 1, 2, and 3. So anyway, they're off diving looking for clues. When we see a dad and his daughter out for a swim, only for the dad to be taken by Shocker, leaving the daughter alone on the rocks. Okay. Meanwhile, we cut over to the club at a pool somewhere. The local pool. A pool? They're at a pool somewhere with a fancy slide and a fancy insert that's like next to the ocean. They're there for downtime. And one of them is jealous that Taki is working with a female agent, which goes exactly nowhere, so it doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, back over to Taki and his partner. They find the girl and bring her in after hearing about a monster taking her dad. Because, you know, Shocker! And it confuses me for later of just like, okay, why did you go public with it? What was the... Oh my god. I think that's going to be my complaint this entire 4 episodes is, what is your plan here exactly?
It's a plan. It's a really good plan that we can't tell you any information about because we don't know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we find out that Shocker is kidnapping people with really high stamina so they can work in an underwater factory mining uranium. Why the fuck do you need people for this?
Because they tried to steal stuff to, you know, sell before, and that didn't work. And tried to steal money.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't work either. So they apparently don't have a lot of funding.
Yeah. We check over to Hayato real quick as he continues to follow the trail of clues to find the base. I guess he went to the pool that guy got kidnapped at and found out that the pool drains out into the ocean, and that's where he got dragged, even though those pipes are really small.
And if he got dragged through them, then he was not alive by the time he got back there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, back over to the club. They end up trying to find the base as well. And I think this is where I pointed my notes of, why are you people not working together? Because it seems like Hayato is off doing his own thing and ends up kind of just alone most of the time, out of the loop. The club, half the time maybe split, half the time are together on a plan to go find shit. Never telling Hayato what they're doing.
He just always has that plot convenience ability that just makes him there when he's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for supporting cast, they're doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
They're doing a lot of lifting because apparently Hayato's not allowed to, I don't know, be teamed up with any of the supporting cast members to do anything, which is one of those. I am glad that changed over time. Because that is not the case anymore.
No, not at all.
Thank God. Can you imagine what Forza would be like if this was how they handled the club?
Oof.
Oof, indeed. Especially with Gentaro's character, like that would incredibly rip apart of the very core of the series if they did that. Anyway, we check in with Hayato as he gets attacked by some shocker goons that waylay him, while our FBI agents go out for another dive to find a base. Hayato ends up fighting the monster when the club can't find him. And this waylays him long enough for when he does reunite with the club, because him and the monster split up. He finds out that the FBI agents went for a dive and he has to go find them before Shocker gets them. Unfortunately, Shocker does get them and captures them both. Separately, with Hayato intervening in the middle, but they both end up captured anyway, so don't worry about it. Anyway, Hayato makes it to the base, rescues the two of them, except it's a trap because the monster proceeds to turn off the oxygen flow. It makes it less oxygen in there, so everyone's weak until Hayato just hits the buttons back on, so they get full oxygen, and then they kick butt.
Immediately kick butt.
Immediately.
I feel like that's not how that should work. At all.
No. Either direction, but whatever. Anyway, the agents make their escape. Hayato goes and rescues the dad. He fights the monster, rider kick, and it goes boom, and we're done. Also, the base explodes because the monster exploded on it. Yeah, that's episode 22. So how'd you feel about this first half?
I mean, I felt like I could enjoy it a little bit more. Mainly because I think I've now started shifting to the point of, okay, I'm just going to take it for whatever it is, craziness and all.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bad thing.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, and maybe it'll fix itself later, but I almost feel like some of these episodes maybe needed one more review of it, because they kind of have either a problem of skipping information that was needed or jumbling the scenes up to where it's like, wait, how did that work exactly?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I feel like that's just a aspect of writer at this point, because I feel like that's in every show.
Yes and no, because like there's some of them where it kind of feels like they have that more refined.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have like Geo.
Yeah.
Just saying, and no, I'm not comparing this to Geo. I'm just saying there are some shows that do it good enough.
Yeah. Also, I forgot, but well, the name doesn't connect, I assume, because different family name, but Inoue's dad is actually writing some of these episodes.
Huh.
I forgot about that. I was like, oh, right, Toshiki Inoue is like a second-generation writer for Writer. Right, because his dad wrote episodes for Writer. I forgot about that piece of little nugget of trivia.
Interesting.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's the main writer. I'd have to double check that. So tune in next week and while I double check that information.
Provided you remember to double check it.
Yes. Anyway, ready to move on to our second half?
I guess so.
All right, episode 23, Sky Flying Monster Musasapota Squirrel. It's a squirrel. It's Squirrel Monster. And I refuse to not call it Squirrel in some type of Russian accent because I grew up with Rocky and Bullwinkle, so it's Squirrel. It is Squirrel. I will be disappointed if we have no moose to go with our Squirrel Monster.
Well, then I guess you're disappointed.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't surprise me if we don't.
Yeah. Anyway, we check in with some scientists who have apparently developed a high explosive liquid that is apparently just a viable replacement for rocket fuel because they just launch a rocket with it with like only like a small amount. And it's like, oh, we can fly this shit to the Mars. And I'm like, that's some strong stuff. That also is probably fucking volatile considering how much they're just tossing this shit around. How did this not blow up in someone's hands?
I mean, it did at the end of the episode when the monster landed on it.
Well, yeah, fucking hell. This thing's getting tossed around everywhere.
Okay, at one point, literally in the final fight, the thing went flying a good 10 foot. Because Hayato literally throws it off camera.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how did that not just blow everyone away?
Yeah. Anyway, this rocket fuel will be the target of Shocker, and they're sending their brand new monster, Flying Squirrel Blocky, because it's not Rocky, technically.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a second to catch that.
The problem is, if we do get a moose, I don't have a good substitute name for Bullwinkle.
I mean, very true.
After we establish this with Shocker, we're over to Hayato, who finds out that Taki is off with one of the girls in Goro's sightseeing because FBI orders, go sightsee, sniff out trouble, I guess. I don't know. This seemed just an excuse to advertise this town as a vacation spot.
Yeah.
Also, isn't it at some point that the squirrel kills somebody by flying around them and shredding their guts? I think I forgot about that scene.
I think that happens, I think right after Cocker took notice about it.
Yeah.
About the fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, as they're going about, they're up on I think it's actually the tower from Kabuto.
Oh god, it probably is.
Yeah, I think it's that one spot, that one tower, that one Paris, that one Eiffel Tower looking tower that's in Japan. They end up spotting the squirrel flying about, and Taki heads off to the lab that I guess he saw the squirrel go towards to stop the squirrel from getting away from the fuel. Unfortunately, he's only there in time to job out fucking clean to it and get the shit kicked out of him with the briefcase with the rocket fuel in it. So yeah, this thing apparently just is not combustible by being thrown about.
I mean,
because Taki's getting
clearly
the shit kicked out of him. But Hayato soon arrives because, I guess he wanted to go meet up with Taki after being told where Taki was.
except he was only told the city that Taki was in, and, you know, he manages to find the exact lab and comes in at the right moment.
Maybe he heard about Squirrel. Maybe he heard Squirrel.
Except for, to our knowledge, there is only 3 people that actually saw the squirrel.
Very true.
Because literally Taki was there before our squirrel friend got there.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't know how, but somehow.
No, he got that. He got in there mid break-in.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because he kind of came busting in the door asking about the squirrel, and no one knew what he was talking about. They all thought he was crazy. Which, I mean, if someone comes busting into a room hollering about a squirrel monster, yeah, that would be the proper response.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Hayato fights the monster out into like some dirt area, fights some goons, and then he gets told about the explosives, and then he fakes a retreat only to steal the briefcase and run away. While the squirrel just stands there, it's like, he tricked me. I'll get it next time. Motherfucker, you can fly. You can probably fly faster than him. Sir.
Yep.
Anyway, back at the lab, the scientists have ordered a chemical to turn the explosives inert. Oh, what?
Oh, what? What?
Oh, never mind. I thought you were telling me I missed something or whatnot. Okay, never mind. So yeah, they're bringing in the chemical to make the explosives inert. Only for one of the girls in Goro to arrive to help. Because I guess they can be helpful. I don't know what they would help with at the moment.
They probably don't either.
Yeah. Anyway, Tachibana gets called about this, and he catches a flight to leave and to go there, and leaves 2 of the other girls in charge, although one of them is going to be catching a flight behind him and going there as well. Because fuck looking after the club, I want to go join the battle. Anyway, we catch up with Shocker at the airport as they intercept the guy bringing in the chemicals via airplane, and they just take him out and disguise themselves as the one bringing in the chemicals. And they just smoke bomb their way in and just take it and just toss it to the squirrel, and it flies away with it. Hayato gives chase, but the squirrel loses him in the tunnel by, I guess, just ducking around a corner and just letting Hayato drive past him while he goes chases his goons on bikes. When his tracking device should tell him immediately that, oh wait, it's behind me now. That's weird. When did that happen?
Except apparently this tracker is not that good.
Apparently not. Attaboy, Hayato. Way to pay attention to your own tech. But thankfully, Tachibana did spot the diversion and goes and follows said squirrel. And this is when we see one of the other girls arrive and joins our first girl and Goro. And they decide that after Taki beats up the goons and leaves them tied up in the closet, that they're going to have the goons take them to the base. Why?
Reasons.
Why? A, why are you doing this? B, why aren't you talking to Taki about this when he was literally in the same building as you for 5 seconds ago? And C, what exactly are you going to accomplish when you get to the base?
I mean, they're gonna save the day. Except they're not.
No, because after Hayato realizes it's a ploy and goes backtracks to go find it, the goons in the car with the girls and Goro brake check them and steal the weapons. So now they're captured. Bravo. Tachibana ends up going for a spin because of the squirrel and almost dies. Thankfully, Hayato shows up in time to save him. God, this episode's also all over the place of like, what are any of your guys' plans here? None of you are communicating. I know it might be a little difficult without the ability to have anything to communicate with instantly, but fuck's sakes. Anyway, Hayato takes on the squirrel, only for the others to be held hostage in exchange for the explosive. But that gets flipped around because Hayato gives them the explosives, and they let him go, only for Goro to throw a rock at somebody, and that lets Hayato just hop up to where they are and attack them. So he fights Squirrel Man on the side of a mountain. Ryder kicks him into the case, destroying them both, and then there's some random kids pop out of nowhere being like, yay! And I'm like, what? Where did you? What's happening? I feel like I'm hallucinating.
I almost feel like that got put in the wrong episode.
Yeah.
Because the two-parter that we have, the first part of this week anyhow, it almost feels like that scene should have been at the end of this two-parter, not at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
I think they whoopsed. Again. Probably.
Yeah. So the kids cheer. Everyone worries that Hayato might have been dead from the explosion, but Tachiba's like, he's fine. He's fine. It's fine. And
Roger can't die.
About that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say if he was at the impact of that blast, he would have been dead.
Yeah. Although I've seen people be like, oh, Ichigo and Nico have survived a nuke being dropped on them, and I'm like, okay, how far away from the nuke, and B, what is the context of them getting a nuke dropped on them?
Yeah, because I mean, if it was like this, then maybe.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's the episode, more or less, because Hayato survives. He's just on the cliffside looking over. Which takes us to episode 24, which is the first half of a two-parter, so we're ending on a cliffhanger this week with Deadly Poison Monster Kinkomolk's Sorte. So we check in with a convict who is got a life sentence in prison, as Shocker kidnaps him to turn him into Mushroom Man with the ability to paralyze people with his spores. I thought he was going to kill people with the spores, but apparently it's not the case.
I thought so too, because, you know, the subs said that his spores were poisonous. That would lead one to believe, okay, he's going to kill people with this?
No, he's going to freeze them so we can turn them into more monsters. Because that's just Shocker's de facto plan, is just, if we make enough monsters, we will take over the world through simple numbers.
I mean, to be fair, this is probably the first time that they've had a super solid plan.
Half of that plan, I would say, sure, but the other half, no.
I mean, it's a start.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the episode. Our guy is happy to do this because he is a robber and a killer, as it's stated by him being convicted for armed robbery and murder. So, chaos? Yay! I'll do chaos. And dunked him into a tank a week later, he's Mushroom Man. And he's off to go kidnap kids. including these 2 tennis players at the start of the episode, which 3 of the girls are watching play because they know them, I guess. So after 2 of them get kidnapped, the girls do spot the kids getting kidnapped and follow the truck to its base. Only they can't find the entrance because it's invisible. Shouldn't they walk into it far enough to actually bounce into the barrier? Or just go through the invisibility cloak?
That would be the smart thing to do. The writer has to do the smart thing, not the supporting cast.
Apparently. Although we don't even get that far in this episode, because when they report back to the club, Hayato just heads out to investigate. And this is where I disagree on their plan, because their next step is the Mushroom Man gathers up a bunch of goons, and they just go parading around town saying, hey, come see our Halloween party, you bunch of kids that don't have adults near them. They're also not frightened by the shocker monster. What?
Which I could maybe get that. They think that he's in a costume.
Yeah, but I'm also like, children, where are your fucking parents?
Yep.
Why are you walking away with all these people?
But you know, to be fair, I don't feel like that is a flaw in Shocker's plan, because sometimes the best form of hiding is in plain sight. So, yeah. I mean, still props on them for, thinking outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go around trying to cause chaos, they just went around trying to get people to follow them.
Yeah.
So far, I feel like I am liking my Mushroom Man far more than I have some of the plot ideas for the others thus far.
Yeah. But anyway, this plot ends up working because they end up leading them all out to a quarry where he's able to freeze a bunch of them, so they capture a bunch of the kids and shove them into the truck. Only Hayato manages to arrive to give chase, only he gets caught by a rope from one of the goons and is dragged behind the truck for a little bit until he gets a footing, gets on top of the truck, tackles the goon, and ends up getting the truck to crash, so he ends up having to fight the goons and the Mushroom Man. And this is when all 4 of the girls arrive, and all 4 of them fight off the goons, which is one of the only times all 4 of them get to have a fight scene together, let alone a fight scene in general. One of them even countered a suplex into I think just a crack in the neck. It's like, holy shit, the supporting cast is being useful here by working to get the kids out of there, while Hayato is the one that handles the monster because he's the only one who probably can, in all honesty. Anyway, eventually Hayato helps out clean up, and they get all the kids to a hospital, but they have no way of waking them up from their coma they're in, more or less. Shocker does try to take the kids at night, but they're stopped by Hayato and Taki, I think, who's also at the hospital by now. I think I might have blanked out on that scene.
I think you're right. I think Taki was there.
Yep. Anyway, at the club, the team finds out, oh no, the club has been bugged by the metal mushroom you mentioned earlier, which...
Yeah.
Okay, 1, how the fuck did they get it in there? 2, why?
And 3, what is wrong with everyone else that they didn't realize it was a metal mushroom?
Well, it even shouldn't be suspicious because it's a mushroom and a fucking potted plant indoors in this building. I think someone would think it's suspicious that a mushroom is just all of a sudden growing in this potted plant in this fucking building. Anyway, Shocker communicates through it saying, hey, we will give those 2 tennis players back if you come and I forget what they were exchanging for.
I think he just at that point said he would give them back. He didn't say why.
Okay.
Because I know there was a point where Tachibana was like, this is probably a trap. Don't fall for it. And guess what Hayato does?
Yep. Hayato just shows up solo and just goes and fights everybody in order to free the tennis players. And the supporting cast get to do more fight scenes as they fight their way up to get the kids and get out. Unfortunately, Hayato, in the process of fighting Mushroom Man, gets hit by the spores and frozen and is taken to the shocker base. Only for Taki to have been on top of the truck at some point and catch a ride, and no one noticed.
I have to think he was on top of the truck the entire time.
Why does Taki always want to infiltrate the shocker bases? Does he not realize it's not going to work?
I mean, if he tries it enough times, it's bound to work at least once. I have to feel like that's the thought process there.
Yeah. It's just... Taki, if you're going to infiltrate the shocker bases, bring a fucking gun at least. Do you not have a gun? I know, kids show. He's probably not allowed to have a fucking gun. But for fuck's sakes, man, you should have a gun. At least use it in a threatening manner. Even though I think the shocker goons are probably bulletproof, right?
Maybe. They're not sword-proof.
I know, but it makes me wonder if the shocker goons are also bulletproof.
I don't know. Maybe that's why he don't have a gun.
Maybe.
Yes, I am trying to think of a in-universe reason.
We're putting more thought to this than anyone who wrote for this show is.
Yep.
Anyway, Hayato's captured. They have him strapped under a buzzsaw, and they're gonna cut him up into a pizza for all the shit he's done, and that's our cliffhanger.
Well, they're either gonna cut him up into a pizza, or at the very least decapitate him.
That would probably be the smarter idea, to be honest.
At least they'd know he would be dead then.
Yeah.
Be one of those aimed for the head.
Yeah, that's our last episode. How'd you think of the second half?
I feel like the next step that I'm looking for with this show is for them to quit being all over the place. Like, just quit.
Can the club coordinate on a plan?
If the answer is no, then can we get a different club?
Even if it's a nonsense plan involving fucking teleportation into a coffin underground, I will fucking take it.
I mean, yes, more of that.
At least we're not going not like super hard down, but like kind of down. But we're bouncing back up. I don't think we'll be like fully there until Hongo gets back, I think. Probably in terms of like proper progression. But at least we have like somewhere we're going in this show now. Instead
of just we're doing Monster of the Week to see if Hongo will come back.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's almost what that feels like so far.
Yeah. But yeah, next week, more episodes. I still need to see if those movies are subbed. Because I think... I was about to say, there's a page for all the Showa movies. Because like one of them is just like a 2 episodes cut together.
Ah.
But yeah, I'll look into that and see if that's subbed. Maybe we'll watch one of those movies real quick. It won't be officially released, so. Anyway, anything else?
I can't think of nothing.
All right, then this next week it's a plethora of Pokemon Snap, Ratchet and Clank, Kingdom Hearts 2, City of Mist, on top of more original series writer. But if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that average viewer follower goal.
Also, shoutouts to yet again. You missed something.
What did I miss?
Master Chief Collection.
Yes, you doing Master Chief Collection tomorrow and Tuesday, right?
Not tomorrow.
Okay, Tuesday. Okay.
This Tuesday, yeah.
Okay, I keep forgetting. Man, I'll remember eventually.
Schedule is up to date on the site. I'll probably work on the Twitch one here later. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the average viewer goal, exclamation point Discord chat gets you this one. Drop by, say hi, drop in questions. We'll answer them. And at TG Saloon on Twitter gets the updates on when we go live. We'll see you next week, folks.